Welcome, Stiga Matoy. How's it going, mate? You're the first one today. Congratulations. Hey, Yanni. All right, quite the interesting Buildsphere we have planned for today, I would say. Let's give it a minute for Jordan to pop up in here and for more people to come in, and then we're good to go. Hey, Jordan, speak of the devil. Let's get you on stage. All right. Usually it takes a minute to reflect that you're a speaker. All right, let's give that a shot if it's working.
Oh, hello. Does it work?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Where are you calling from, Jordan?
Singapore.
Yeah, right.
It's like 5 p.m. here now.
Right. Yeah, we have to make it work with different time zones here, but yeah, I'm expecting a lot of people will listen to our recording here. So yeah, let's make sure that all of our friends that are going to listen to the VOD are welcome as well hereby. Yeah, so we're at the 11-hour mark here in Germany. So yeah, I think we can kick it off. So let me start with some of the introductions here. Welcome everybody to the 15th installment of Buildsphere already. And Buildsphere is really aimed at giving the ecosystem a chance to have some touching points with the projects here on IOTA. And today we are very happy to be discussing with Tenity about the accelerator program that they have been running for IOTA. So yeah, towards the end of our session here, everybody will have the chance to raise their hand, get on stage, ask a question. Of course, you can also drop a question here in the chat and we'll try to pick it up. And with this, I think, yeah, why don't you give us a short introduction about yourself and the role that you play at Tenity, and to you, Jordan.
Alrighty, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so for those of you that haven't met me before, my name is Jordan. So I lead the Web3 programs here at Tenity. Tenity is an early stage startup investor and accelerator. So we do run Web3 programs with different layer ones with the North Star metric to help these projects get onto the blockchain. And then the ideal goal is that we can get everyone creating value on the chain, moving transactions, or even just building the ecosystem, right? So that's primarily what I do here at Tenity. We plan the programs, we scout for startups as well, and then most of the time, some of the programs ends with a demo day. I think we can talk about the demo day later on as we progress. There are times that it's an internal pitching, so it kind of varies depending on program to program itself.
Yeah, thanks for that. Already giving us a good idea here. But let's cover the very first basic question here, and that is, of course, what is an accelerator program? Just so that we're all on the same page, maybe you can give us some insights into that.
Yeah, so I think an accelerator program is like you can view it like a crash course where we work with the partner that comes in for the program and the startups as well to help you guys really define like your product market fit, define your unique selling proposition, right? So I think a lot of times a lot of startups come in, they kind of feel that their product is something that works, that people might buy this, but sometimes what we think and what the market accepts is very, very different. So that's how we structure it into an accelerator program. In the program itself, it could be a 3-month program, a 12-week program, or maybe even a longer one, like 6 months program, right? During the program, we have different structured master classes. We have workshops, we have industry experts coming in as well. So these are the people that will come in to give you insights about what they see in the market. Sometimes as a founder, we only see what we see, but with different perspectives coming in from the market as well, I think that is where some startups can choose to let's tweak the business model a little bit. Let's pivot a little bit, and then things starts to happen, right? So at the end of the day, the whole accelerator program is really targeted at helping the startups to go from 0 to 1, which is usually the hardest. But then once you hit that one mark, for you to go 1 to 100 is going to be a lot easier from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. In the spirit of talking from going from 0 to 1, maybe you can share a little bit of success stories that have come out of previous cohorts that you have supervised.
Yeah, so we do have quite a few success stories in my own personal view, right? So for our own portfolio, we have a couple of startups that has raised funds. For accelerators that we run, we have one startup from a previous batch that has raised funds right after the accelerator itself. But for me personally, right, the way I see success for these startups is, raising funds is one, but it's not always about the money, right? At the same time, I think these founders, what they get out of the program is really building connections within the cohort, and it forms like a little support group, right? Even though the program might have ended, we are still in a chat group, we still share our wins, and that is kind of what pushes other founders to like say, hey, you know what, these guys are like creating new stuff, we better get more traction as well. So it becomes like a little friendly competition that they have. At the end of the day, I think for founders that come through our program, we really hope that they partner up with people within the cohort, or maybe even the alumni of Tenity, right? Those are the places that you can really find your first few customers to get feedback as well.
Yeah, great stuff. I think from my personal experience, it is indeed very beneficial for all of the projects to have a little group of projects that they merge together with. Mm-hmm. Just as in DeFi, you have the opportunity to use basically the protocols as Lego bricks you can stack upon each other. So yeah, definitely always interesting to see also what kind of relationships spin out of the accelerator programs within the projects. So curious to see how that plays out here for IOTA. Let me take you a little bit towards the relationship between Tenity and IOTA. You have been describing what a accelerator program looks like. What are you doing? But maybe you can go into a little bit of detail. What exactly is the relationship between IOTA and Tenity? What are the things that both teams are working on, collaborating on, so to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So for IOTA and Tenity, it's like a partnership where Tenity, we operate the accelerator. We provide the end-to-end service, like we do the scouting of startups, we plan out a program, we execute the program, and we also do introductions to different investors within our network itself, right? So Tenity being based out of Zurich, we have offices in London, we have offices in Spain, we have an office in Estonia as well. I think the network that we have can bring quite a bit of value to startups. So although we might seem a little bit sparse, but at the same time, because of the networks that we have, regardless of wherever your startup is based at, you'll probably get some support from us in terms of, meeting with investors or meeting up with mentors. That's kind of what we provide to the accelerator program. And then partnering with IOTA, right? Super exciting as well. So what Tenity does is more on the commercial side of things, but this is not a one-way street. IOTA comes in to play a part on the tech side of things as well. IOTA being the tech, they built the tech. Tenity is not really the best people at tech per se, but if you need connections, that's what we do. So IOTA comes in with the tech side of things, like supporting these founders or these devs to build onto IOTA, especially now with the EVM, right? Making things a little bit easier for everyone, but at the same time, there are people that might have some roadblocks or some challenges along the way. At the same time, we do have mentors that can cover different areas within the industry, right? So these mentors, they come in to provide some guidance to the startups. Some of them make introductions, and there are some mentors that actually provide very good feedback to these startups, like in terms of their pitch deck, maybe the business model, and that is how you can kind of do a little quick sprint to see whether that little tweak might actually make the business a little bit better, or will make things a bit different for them as well. Yeah, so I think the partnership is really cool, where it's not just one person providing everything, but then you get best of the both worlds. You get commercials from Tenity, you get tech support from IOTA as well.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to bring both sides together here. And yeah, very curious to hear some of the thoughts of the cohort participants that we are going to feature here on Buildsphere in the future. So yeah, that is going to be interesting to hear from their side, of course, as well. So let's talk a little bit about the 12-week APAC accelerator that you ran for IOTA in Singapore. Let's touch some of the goals first. Like, what is the intent? What is the goal at the end of it?
Right. So I think the biggest North Star metric that we have is to have these startups building on IOTA EVM, right? I think these guys, the EVM has just been launched like maybe a month or two back, and then building the ecosystem around the EVM itself. So that's one of the main goals that we have, to bring these startups in. And then for this year, I think that the team that we are working with, it's based on RWA, right? So we do have quite a bit of, I think the projects are very, very interesting as well. We can touch on that later on. So we want to bring all these projects onto the IOTA EVM. And then the other matrix that we kind of want to have is to ensure that these startups not only go onto the chain, they go onto mainnet, but then we want to ensure that these startups are sustainable themselves, they can scale in the future as well. I think a lot of times we see, there might be some grants from different foundations, and then these guys just build, and then at the end of the day, they cannot sustain the project, and then they kind of like slowly die off, or the chain becomes like a zombie chain, right? So that's what we want to avoid. We want to ensure that these projects are self-sustainable and definitely scale in the future as well.
Yeah, that is making a lot of sense. So about the selection process. So I would assume you have a bunch of applications, a lot of projects that are wanting to get into the accelerator. I can imagine. So probably a hard task at hand here, but how do you go about the selection process?
Right. So the selection process is kind of interesting. Like, I don't do it alone. We do have a team of scouts that support us as well. So for the scouts itself, I think one of the main channels that they kind of reach all these projects, LinkedIn is a very big one. X as well. So I mean, if you're a founder looking to join an accelerator, I think having some visibility on LinkedIn might help you, because it kind of gives us an overview of like who this founder is, what they are building, and how this person is like, right? So that covers the scouting process. I think for this particular accelerator, we got like more than 100 applications. So it took us a while. It took us quite a while to actually sift through all these applications, and that's where we have that shortlisting phase, right? So we shortlist startups based on where they are, what their traction is like. We want to ensure that it kind of fits the accelerator's goals and objectives as well. So let's say, for example, if the accelerator is about RWA, and then you come in doing like maybe a payments, right? Then it might not be a very good fit. But this doesn't mean that you should just give up. I think you should look out for other accelerators that can fit your particular vertical better, right? So after the scouting, we have the shortlisting, and then from there we kind of have calls with these startups that we have shortlisted to kind of understand what they do a little bit more, see how the founders are like. I think one of the big things that we look at is really how the founder is. The project can be a good project, but then if the founder is like a multiple exit founders, I think that's a very good plus point as well. But that's not to say that if you're a first time founder, you're not going to get selected. I think if you're able to sell the idea of what you're trying to solve, the problem you're trying to solve for the world, for the industry, I think that will be a very, very big plus point.
Yeah, very fair. I think if a founder is really having a vision and the ability to inspire others about his idea, then everything following after that can surely be obtained more easily. But if you're having a very solid idea with everything aforementioned lacking, then of course I can imagine it is a little bit more tricky to work with a situation like this. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk us a little bit through the projects that have made it into the accelerator, so we are getting an idea what they're all about.
Yeah, so I think the projects are pretty exciting. So we have 6 super exciting startups, right? So all of them are in the RWA space, ranging from things like tokenized invoice financing, to property rental, to critical minerals, to creating digital product passports. I think these are some projects that we are starting to see coming out of the Web3 space in the last 6 months. And I think for the next 6 months, it's probably going to be more RWA kind of plays for the future. I mean, in the next short term as well. That's kind of what I look at. Yeah, so very excited to like kind of see how these guys perform during demo day as well.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Me personally, I'm much more of a DeFi than an RWA guy, but I'm very excited to get my toes wet there as well. So I'll be definitely paying close attention to how that all plays out. Yeah, so we've talked about the selection process and the aim of the accelerator program. Let's talk a little bit about how it all comes to an end. What is the conclusion? You have already been hinting at the demo day. Maybe you can flesh that out a little bit more for us.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, so after the 12 weeks program, we do have a demo day. And this year, I think it maybe by a stroke of luck, or maybe it was very great planning on my end. I'm just going to take credit for that. So our demo day is going to end just before Token. And Token 2049 is one of the biggest events in the world, right? We have two. One happens in Dubai, one happens in Singapore. So the startups will be flying in for the week of Token. We're going to have a demo day just before. I think the demo day will be like a side event for Token as well. So if anyone's like around the area, if you are flying into Singapore, do come by, look at what these startups are building, see whether that's something that can raise interest for you guys. So basically, in a demo day, what happens is these startups does like a 3 to 5 minute pitch about what they are building. And the main goal of it is to hopefully raise interest and ultimately get like either funding or partnerships from the audience, right, or the investors that are in the room. So contrary to what many people think, demo day doesn't happen like Shark Tank. No VCs will come up to you and say, all right, give me like 1% for 100K, and then they start writing a check. That just happens in the TV screen, not how it works during a demo day. But I think one of the best outcomes for demo day itself is really for the startups to meet the larger community and also share what you are building as a founder, right? And at the same time, by doing this, you can probably find great partners that can, either make introductions for you, or could be a critical partner that you have to help you grow your business as well.
Yeah, awesome. I'm a little bit disappointed though that it's that Shark Tank is not representative of how VC funding works. I
think it's a little bit over dramatized, like it doesn't happen. Can you imagine how stressful it is? Like, you gotta like kind of calculate the valuations in your head, and then you gotta like, oh my God, do you think this is a right valuation for the business? I think it's a bit hard to make that decision on the spot itself.
Probably. Yeah, we still hope that Ran Neuner wants to swim with all of the projects, but probably it's going to be a little less dramatic than as we are used to from Shark Tank. Yeah, that is making a lot of sense. So the finalists, they are going to present at Demo Day at Token 2049. Maybe you can talk a little bit about those in particular. So, not sure I can read them out, but maybe you can give us a little bit of insight in what they're all about. Some of their names are already giving it a little bit away, but maybe you can give us a little bit of context of the finalists and what they're all about.
Yeah, so we have 6 finalists, right, that are presenting during the demo day at Token. Just give me 1 second. I have like their 1 pages that I've prepared.
Yeah, no worries about that. Token 2049 is also going to take place in Singapore, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, so the first one we have is actually Kiro Finance, right? So Kiro Finance, they, like the name kind of sounds, they do a little bit more of the financing stuff. So they are providing institutional private credit with credit underwriting infrastructure, right? So they are basically tokenizing loans to people or institutionals in that sense. And then we have the Real Lifestyle. So these guys are pretty interesting. I kind of resonate with this because I kind of understand how the property market works around Southeast Asia. So basically, the Real Lifestyle wants to enable digital nomads to rent lodging on demand. So basically think of it like Netflix, but for property, right? You can have a subscription. You could just rent a house or rent a room anywhere in the world where they have properties there. So that's what Real Lifestyle is doing. Love it a lot. And then we have InvoiceMate. So for InvoiceMate, they are looking to do they're basically doing invoice financing, but they're tokenizing the invoices. So they kind of unlock a little bit more liquidity for people in the trade space, right? Very TradeFi kind of situation there. And then we have BlackFrog. So BlackFrog's pretty interesting as well. So it's something new that I learned when I started talking to all these startups as well. So BlackFrog, the founder Julian was telling me that, do you know that critical minerals is like a huge market, but nobody taps on it? I'm like, I got no idea, man. Please share with me more. And then he was like, oh, you know what? We can tokenize things like cobalt, lithium. And then as an investor, you don't have to worry about storage. They'll handle all those. And then you could just trade all those stuff on chain, right? And then the fifth one we have is OVO Digital. So these guys are looking to tokenize certificates, right? I think one of the biggest play they have is to be able to provide transparency and verify certificates on chain. Basically, think of it like, if you have like a degree cert right now, the only one that knows whether it's real or not is you, and that's what they're trying to solve, right? So as an employer or maybe as a university, you are sure to not get fake certs or people trying to fraud and get their ways into the school or into the job itself. And then I have one more. Oh, the last one is Orobo. So Orobo trying to build that digital product passport. They're trying to make it a standard that, the next time a digital passport comes in, this is how the standard looks like. And I think they are looking into the build space right now, which I think is going to be a pretty big market for the EU region, because I think by 2030 they have to have a digital passport, digital product passport of where your materials come from when you're building a house, or if you're doing renovations, it's a cement that you have, ethically sourced and stuff like that.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Like for me as a just average DeFi person, I'm having a really tough time conceptualizing how will it look when I connect a MetaMask to, for example, a website that is offering access to critical minerals, all that kind of stuff. So very, very interesting. I feel like there is certainly a lot of novelty coming to IOTA, and I definitely haven't touched any of these topics on my other EVM endeavors. So this definitely feels like new ground to me. So I'm very, very excited to be trying that out firsthand, hopefully rather soon.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah. I think maybe the next wave that might come is people using this RWA stuff to pledge as collateral, and then you could do more DeFi stuff with it to unlock liquidity as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, RWAs have been touted as the next shiny thing for quite some while now. But all of the use cases that you have just been talking about, I have not really had any contact points whatsoever with them. So, I'm definitely hopeful that RWA as the next shiny thing is still in its infancy, and a lot of the cool use cases we are yet to get our hands on. Certainly sounds like that got my hopes up here quite a lot. Let's talk a little bit about the demo day. So, of course, we have already been talking about it's not going to be a Shark Tank episode. Maybe Ram Neuner will still be there. But what possible outcomes are the projects really looking for when they are presenting? Let's say everybody likes it. What is the best outcome they could be hoping for?
Yeah, so I think the demo day comes in as a top of funnel kind of instrument, right? So during the demo day, the ideal situation that can happen is, if an angel investor or maybe a VC takes interest in what you're building, chances are they might just pull you aside and say, hey, you know what, I kind of like what you're doing. I'm kind of curious. Let's schedule a call. Let's have a chat, and then let's see what can come out of that conversation, right? More often than not, you won't see instant funding that comes in, but Usually it takes time because these investors will need time to do due diligence as well. But the ideal situation that the startups can look forward to is to having that secondary kind of conversations that happens outside of demo day, right? So you use demo day as a top of funnel to meet all these people, and then from there you can carry on the conversation outside. That's like the ideal case.
Awesome. Yeah, let's hope, fingers crossed for all our candidates that they get everything they want out of it. So we are getting close to the end here. So I think, let's dish out an invitation for everybody. If you have a question here at Jordan from Tenity, then please raise your hand and we'll get you on stage. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about getting the best out of applying for an accelerator. So maybe there is going to be a second round. Who knows what the future will bring? So I'd be very curious in your expertise on, if I'm running a project, what is my best approach to really maximize the accelerator program?
Yeah, so I think if you're a founder or you're a project coming into an accelerator, right? A lot of these accelerators, they have structures to why program is done in this way. And at the same time, there will be structures of how the knowledge and experience can be shared within the cohort itself. So this usually comes in the form of like either master classes or it comes in the form of workshops. So for the programs that I've run so far, I think the most successful startups are the ones that are very persistent to like constantly reaching out to the team, regardless if it's IOTA team or it's the Tenity team. They constantly reach out to us to get feedback. They can even reach out to the peers within the cohort to kind of get like, hey, let me bounce this idea off you. Let me know what you think about it, right? And there are some that they reach out to the mentors to like really get feedback on their project itself. So in terms of feedback, right, this could be in things like their pitch deck, it could be their product market fit, it could be their go-to-market strategy. So if you really want to get the best out of it, I think during the accelerator program, the best time to do it is to really keep asking questions. I believe in there is no stupid question mantra. Like if you have a question you ask, you're probably going to get an answer. If you cannot get an answer, there will be someone that we can make an introduction to that can probably give you a different perspective from it. Yeah. So for Tenity itself, we do have in-person weeks for the whole program. These are where startups fly into Singapore. I think the in-person weeks are the best because we get to really sit down with the founders, understand them more, figure out what kind of challenges they are facing as well. And during these in-person weeks, we do organize networking nights. We do have mentor meetups. We do have in-person coaching as well. And sometimes we have introduction to partners that can probably, work our POC with you guys. And for me, from an execution point of view, I feel that sometimes startups always forget that their cohort members could also be potential customers, right? So we have cases of previous batches where this guy was building, I think, like a wallet integration kind of thing, and then he ended up onboarding every single project because they all needed a wallet as well, and they didn't want to pay too much. So this guy's like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to integrate it for you guys, so I have my first 10 customers already. So that is something that can happen during the accelerator as well. And then spawning from that, right, we have seen partnerships within the cohort, itself, as well as from the alumni. Once in a while, we do have events where we invite alumni down, and that is kind of where people start to network. They're like, oh, wait, you're from Tenity as well? Like, this is what we can work on together. And I think the best part of the program is you have that camaraderie with your cohort members, right? And I think this is something very hard to find if you are just a developer starting out, or if you're a project that's new to the market. You might not have that network to meet new people, and it can be really challenging to always go for conferences. It's super tiring. It also costs a lot of money as well. So if you do join a program, I think that's the best time for you to kind of get to know all these people. They could make introductions for you too.
Awesome. So, not only is entrepreneurial success in the cards, but also the power of friendship can be tapped into quite heavily when, teaming up with the cohort friends there. Awesome. We have Ramy raising his hand, so let's get you up on stage. Yeah, it's always going to take a short second to reflect that you're up on stage. All right, Ramy, please unmute your mic and let's hear your question.
My name is Ramy. I'm a software engineer, and that's my day job for the automotive field. And on the side, I'm working on a mobile app. It's based on the IOTA Tangle, and I will be soon exploiting the IOTA new EVM. So the application is in the automotive field too, and it's to manage car data on the blockchain and do transactions based on smart contract on the blockchain for the automotive. So the MVP is in a good stage. It's not yet finished. And my question is, so I was able to find help from the IOTA community on Discord for technical help. They were very helpful. But to find events and these kind of communications, to find accelerator programs, since I would like to launch my startup soon, it is a bit hard. Beside this interesting discussion, so I'd like to know how to find those. Knowing that I'm based in Europe, I'm in France actually. So for the Trinity, I'm hearing that you are based, I think, in Saint.
Ramy, I think we just lost you.
Yeah, but
sorry, do you hear me now?
Yes.
And you're back.
Okay, great. So I was asking, since I'm based in Europe, in France, and I'm asking if your program is also present in Europe or France, because I will be looking very soon for an accelerator program to launch my startup.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So for Tenity itself, right? We are based out of Zurich. We do have programs that run in the Zurich office as well. They might not be strictly targeted at Web3, because Tenity is still for our own programs we do more fintech stuff. But I'm happy to link you up with one of our team members in Switzerland. Have a chat, see whether that's something that we can help you with. I mean, at the end of the day, it really depends on what the investment thesis could be for every single project that comes in. That's something that we kind of look at as well. But happy to link you guys up. Then you can explore some of the programs with us there.
Oh, okay. That would be nice. Would you like drop a link in the chat or?
Let me see. Oh yeah, maybe I could do that. Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
Okay. Yeah, this way I can contact. So do you know if there is a season or a period in which it's like a pitch deck season in which there is a door open for many pitch decks or some special events in Europe to pitch to investors about Web3 regarding IOTA especially?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest events in in the Web3 space in Europe is probably going to be EFCC. I think that's pretty big. I think this year was at Consensus. This year was in Brussels. I didn't attend that. But I think that's one of the biggest events there. But at the end of the day, I think you don't really have to go to conference to meet investors. You can, with the help of social media like LinkedIn, right? I think that's the best way to kind of meet VCs all around the world. You could just literally search venture capitalists, Web3, and then you'll see a few big names. Have a chat with them, connect with them. I think that's one of the ways you can actually get started with your fundraising or like get feedback about your product itself.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I will drop my LinkedIn in the chat, and also, I will check your link once you drop it.
Sure, you can. You can drop me a DM on X as well if you want.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question, Ramy.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jordan, dropping the alpha here at the very end on how to get in contact with the with the VCs. Yeah, thank you for that. So I'm just checking whether we have any more hands up. Doesn't seem to be the case. All right then. Yeah, with that, I think time to wrap it up then. Also time for me to say, of course, as always, this episode of Buildsphere has been for informational purposes only. And yeah, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on. It's been really, really interesting talking to you and get an overview about all the RWA projects that are going to, have their demo day coming up shortly. Thanks a lot to the audience, joining us today. Thank you, Ramy, for asking a great question. Any closing statements that you want to, leave the community with, John?
Yeah, I think one of is my favorite phrase to tell every startup, right? Like if you get rejected if you get rejected for an accelerator program, don't be disheartened. There are many programs out there. Sometimes you get rejected a few times, and then when you apply it the next time, you kind of got in. So that kind of happened with one of the cohort members as well. They applied for a few times, they didn't get in, but this round, when they applied, they had a bit more traction, and that is kind of what we wanted to see. And if you want to get feedback of why you're rejected, do reach out to the accelerators. More often than not, they will probably give you some pointers on like what can you improve or what's kind of lacking on your end as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is great parting wisdom for us to take away with you. And so with that, wishing everybody a great rest of the day. And I will see you hopefully around for next week's Buildsphere episode. Until then, see you on Discord or catch you here on X. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Right.
And goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, John.
Bye.